to my channel. We're doing another review today on the newest concealer from Charlotte Tilbury. So I'm going to do a demo for you quickly so you can see how that applies on my skin, and then I'll be back to give you my final thoughts. For the demo, I'm going to put my matte concealer with the Charlotte Tilbury on this eye and this eye with the Charlotte Tilbury by itself, because usually when I do concealer I always put this Studio Fix along with the additional concealer, is what I'm trying to say. So let's do that. Let's put this on first. And I just put this all underneath. I like the tone of this. It just helps with the darkness. Okay, that looks about right. See how it immediately does that? Okay, so with the Charlotte Tilbury, let me close this. Sorry about that. This is the shade 7.5 is the one they matched me in at the Sephora store. So let's go. No particular scent, and I usually just dot. And I hear this is a very brightening concealer, so let's see what that does. Let me put this down so I don't drop it. And with that same brush, I'll just go in and blend it out. And I just gradually work that up. And you can immediately see how much brighter that is. I might need to add a little bit more. So can you see that? I'm just gonna put a little bit more because I feel like I didn't really put enough. And then we'll do the other eye in a minute. And I apologize if you hear any noises. So there, put a little bit more. Might be a lot more. We'll blend that out. And then we'll set this side, and then we'll do the other eye. I always move it over here, the concealer, right in this spot, because I wear glasses and helps to cover up that demarcation. So this is what it looks like without setting it. And with the light, you see it's very radiant. I'm not seeing what other people have been saying, how it looks like very shimmery. I'm not seeing that. So let me open up my two powders. And I'm gonna set it with my Pat McGrath first. I use this in the inner corner of my eye with a Real Technique setting brush. And we just go right in here with the yellow. That helps with the brightening. And then I'll go in with my Jouer. I don't know why I say that. I think it's Jouer. I believe that's how you say it. Anyways, we're going to go in with that one. The shade medium. All over the under eye. With the same brush. And these are the powders that I have been using for years to set all my concealers. So these are the ones that I've been using. And I absolutely love them. All right, can you guys see that? It still looks radiant. The powder just helped really mattify it just a little bit and set it. So from here, it looks really good. I'm just going in with a little more powder. And I do expect to have a little creasing under my eyes because I have, you know, wrinkles under my eyes. So now we're gonna do this eye with no matte concealer, just the Charlotte Tilbury, to see the difference. So I need to use my mirror, but I gotta do it where you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay, right there. Ooh. I felt like something was in my eye. And I'm going to use a clean buffing brush to blend this in so it doesn't mix in with the MAC one that I already used earlier. And you could always use a sponge if you wanted to. I always use brushes under for concealer. I've never really used sponges, I don't think. Which, now that I think about it, maybe I should have done it with a sponge. But I wanted to really use this concealer the way that I typically use it. I'm not someone who takes a sponge and bakes under my eye. I don't do any of that. I just use a brush. I think a brush works better for me. So I think that's why I stayed with just using a brush. Okay, so that's what that concealer looks like. I am really impressed how that looks. This is my darker side, and I think it looks really, really good without the MAC, which is rare because I usually need that little bit in there, that little color correction. And I don't feel like I need to add more. Sorry, I've just covered it. I don't feel like I need to add more. I think that looks good. So now I'm gonna set it with those two powders like I did previously. So the other side of this brush, same brush, Pat McGrath first, always in the inner part of our eye. And then we'll go in with the medium powder from Jouer. I think that's how you say it. If you guys know the proper way to say this company's name, let me know, because I think I'm always saying it wrong. Okay, I think I got it all nice and set. Okay, my left side with just the Charlotte Tilbury, and this is my right side with the MAC and Charlotte Tilbury. It is now 12 o'clock. I will check back in a couple hours to see how this concealer wears throughout the day. Okay, everyone, it has been 2 hours. As you can see, I did a full face of makeup, and this is what the concealer is looking like. So looking in my mirror, I feel like it has faded a little bit. I need something to point with right in this area. Ooh, almost put myself on that right here. You see how you can see my skin peeking through. I haven't touched it, so right there, and on this eye also right here. So it's not the matte concealer. I think it's just the actual Charlotte Tilbury. This is the side, remember, that I only put the Charlotte Tilbury on with the powders, and it's definitely coming off here, and I have not touched my under eye, especially in this area. As you can see, I intentionally only went to here with eye makeup, so I haven't touched this area since I applied it. But everywhere else, it's looking like it's holding up. But I'm not liking that it's already faded here because I need it to really last all day. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to reapply in these areas and come back in another 2 hours, I guess, and see how that held up. It's been an additional 2 hours, and as you can see, it looks radiant. And I feel like applying it the second time kept it on. What do you guys think? So remember, this is the side with just the Charlotte Tilbury, and this is the side with the MAC and Charlotte Tilbury. So I'm gonna keep wearing this until I go to bed, and then I will come back the next day and give you guys my final thoughts about this concealer. All right, so before we get into what I think about this concealer, it is called the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Medium to Full Coverage Radiant Concealer with Hyaluronic Acid. That is a name full. The price on this concealer is $33 for 0.25 ounces or 7.2 grams. And there are a total of 30 shades online. I picked up the shade 7.5 medium with yellow neutral undertones, which I felt matched me perfectly. Now, here's some of the claims online. The highlights, it says as a radiant finish, which is true. Good for dark circles, 100% agree with that. It has hyaluronic acid in it, long wearing, medium coverage, and it says it's best for dry, combo, normal skin. I do not agree with the long wearing because after 2 hours, you saw that it faded, and even after reapplying, it did not last. It started creasing like crazy, so I don't agree with that. And it definitely does have a medium coverage. And how it's described online is a creamy skin-like medium to full coverage concealer that visibly conceals, brightens, and lifts eyes and face. Available in 30 waterproof shades with up to 16 hours of wear. I agree. It is a creamy skin-like medium to full coverage concealer, and it does really visibly conceal, brighten, and lift. Because you saw in my reaction, I was amazed how bright and awake I looked when I put this concealer on. I so wanted this concealer to work for me because I was like, wow, I was totally blown away when I applied it. But for me, this concealer did not work. And I'm going to continue reading what it says here. And it says the highlight ingredients are hyaluronic acid, which hydrates skin and revitalizes the outer visible layers, niacinamide, which smooths, and golden vitamin C, which visibly brightens. Now, with that being said, this concealer did feel extremely light on the skin. It felt so natural. It felt like I was wearing nothing. It looked radiant and it made me look so awake, and I loved that. But after 2 hours, it faded. And that's where my disappointment went. And I said, well, let me give it a shot. Let me try it again. Because, you know, I've been testing a lot of new products. And I did. I went in, I put it again, and I tested it with my Holy Grail powders. And it lasted a little bit longer, but it got so creasy. And then I was like, okay, do I really want to have a concealer that, yeah, maybe makes me look awake, but do I want something that I have to work so hard at it where I have to keep reapplying it? Because realistically, when I put my makeup on, I'm not reapplying. And for the price point and all the things that it's promising, I feel like you should have to keep reapplying concealer. At least on me, that's how it works. Okay, everyone, so those are my final thoughts. I'm sorry that this concealer did not work out for me. But before I go, I just wanted to show you quick swatches of the Charlotte Tilbury compared to the Dulce de Leche that I use from Joy Cosmetics. And here it is. And as you can see, they both are in the yellow tone family, but the difference is that the Charlotte Tilbury is a lot brighter and the Dulce de Leche is not. And that's because the Charlotte Tilbury has that vitamin C in it to help give you that brightness that it gave me when I put it on. So unfortunately, we'll be going back, but that's all I have to say today. And I hope you guys enjoyed this review video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.